Welcome to Relation Tales. Please like this video and subscribe Relation Tales. My beautiful wife Tricia was very playful tonight. She was more fun than usual as we sat on the couch after dinner, jumping on my lap and giving me a hug. My name is Jacoby, but my friends call me Jay. I fell in love with Tricia over 5 years ago, and we just celebrated our 4th wedding anniversary last month. We met right after I left the Marines. During my time in the Marines, I got into weight training and self-defense. I spent my last year as a drill instructor, helping recruits become strong soldiers. It was fun, but I knew I wouldn't stay in the military forever. I had plans, and after I got out, I started my own gym and health trainer business with the money I had saved. The business grew quickly, and I devoted all my time to expanding it and helping people. I showed people I could help them change their bodies because I am 6'4" and 255 pounds of muscle. I like seeing people who were unsure of themselves at first become strong and confident after 6 months. Tricia was the sister of one of my clients, and we connected right away. We looked funny together because Tricia is 5'4", a foot shorter and 145 pounds lighter. At just 110 pounds, she was thin and innocent at 22 years old. I was 26 and had more life experience. She wasn't into training, but we loved spending time together. We became a couple, and our romance turned into marriage a year later. Our bond was strong, and we enjoyed our time together. To be honest, she was the best lover I had ever been with. Tricia was always attentive, loving, and uninhibited in the bed. She met all of my needs, and I loved her with all my heart. As you might imagine, being a health trainer with a hard body and good looks to match, I constantly get propositioned by the ladies I train. It's a constant battle to keep things under control with these ladies. I even had to install video cameras throughout the gym just to protect myself from any claims of sexual assault from one of the girls I turned down. Sometimes they got angry when I rejected their advances. I had heard about some vengeful woman making false claims and needed to protect my business and my reputation. I set up the cameras with a remote to my home so that Tricia can look in on me whenever she likes. Tricia knows how committed I am to her, and I make sure to let her know how much I love her. My size and power may be too much for her, but she never complained. Financially, we are in good shape since my business has grown nicely and Tricia works as a real estate agent to help with extra income. Last Sunday afternoon, we were relaxing in the living room with a bottle of wine and Tricia was more playful than usual. She was all giggles and jumped on my lap, giving me kisses and acting like a high school girl. I had to admit, I love the attention when she acts like this. She always knows how to make me feel loved. Things took a very fast turn for our relationship when the reason for her playfulness and extra love was revealed. As she was rubbing her hands through my hair, she smiled at me with that smile that always and calmly said, "Sweetheart, Brian is taking me out to dinner next Friday night. You're okay with that, right?" It actually took me over a minute to compute what she had just said. I was sure I didn't hear her correctly and just enjoyed that wonderful smile. When I didn't respond, she asked again in a sweet voice, "You don't mind, right?" "Tricia, what are you asking me?" "I'm sorry, I don't understand." "Silly. Brian from the office asked me out for dinner next Friday, and I kind of told him yes." Now that I had heard what she had said and grasped its meaning, my mind was certain that I had misunderstood her request. "Are you requesting permission to have supper with Brian the following week?" "Similar to a date." "Not a date. Really? Just dinner and maybe a movie?" I sat there for a long time, shocked that my loyal wife, the love of my life, was asking if she could go on a date with another guy. "Tricia, that's what a date is." "Do you want to go out with another guy?" she replied. "He's such a nice guy, and we get along well at work. He makes me laugh and feel good. I don't see it as a date, more like drinks after work, but this time dinner and a movie." My head was spinning. Surely she understood what she was asking, but I don't think she did. "Tricia, you know I've never gone out with another woman or even thought about it." "How can you want to go out with another guy? Jay, don't be jealous. He's nothing like you and it's just one night. I will only love you and I don't feel anything for him, but I want to do this. I already told him yes. I hope you're not mad." I wasn't mad. Mad was a much smaller word for how I felt at that moment. Fortunately, all of my military training allowed me to remain calm as I assessed the situation and quickly came up with an idea. "You already accepted. I get it now," I said, picking up my cell phone and searched for the number of one of the ladies that has been after me for several months. With Tricia still on my lap and playing with my hair, I dialed the phone. "Hi, Angel. This is Jay," I said as I watched my wife's face looking confused. "I'm good, thanks." Listen, is that offer still open for Friday night? It is? Great. My wife. Well, she just told me that she wanted an open marriage, and I immediately thought of you. That will be fun. I'll see you this week, and we can plan it out. Bye. Tricia had stopped rubbing my hair and looked at me with squinted eyes. Who's Angel? One of my clients. We get along really well, and she makes me laugh. So we're going to go out on Friday night, just like you. Oddly, she was instantly pissed and jumped off my lap and started screaming at me. I could not believe that she didn't see the hypocrisy of her actions and just listened to her as she continued to scream at me. I can't believe you're going with some girl, probably a bitch, I'm sure. I won't stand for you cheating on me and going with other girls, okay? That's bullshit. Trying not to laugh, I said. But it's okay for you to go out with a guy from work. How is it different? It was just a night of fun for you, and now I want the same. Tricia, I've never wanted to be with another woman until you told me you wanted to be with another man. Do you really think I'd let you go on a date and just stay home alone? She looked at me sadly, like she lost her favorite puppy. I went on. You started this, and we're going to see it through. You'll go on your date with Brian, and I'll go on my date with Angel. Whatever happens. I hope we can stay faithful and keep our marriage strong after Friday night. I'll be sleeping in the guest room, and sex between us is out of the question until I decide if I want to stay married to you. The thought of you wanting to be with another man hurts me too much to even want to touch you. Right now, I feel nothing for you. Tricia was crying and angry at the same time. Usually, I would have held her and tried to comfort her, but not after this. I waited a few minutes for her to calm down and continued. Next week, you and I are going to counseling to figure out why I'm not enough for you. And maybe, just maybe, if you can make me understand why I'm not enough for you, then perhaps we can stay married. But let me make it clear, whatever happens now is all on you. The thought of you even wanting to be with another man makes me want to divorce you this instant. But I'm mature enough to work through this. Depending on what happens Friday night and how we feel after going out with other people will determine our future. Just remember, Tricia, whatever happens is all on you and your decision to go on that date with Brian. I have no intention of canceling my plans, and you'll have to live with the outcome, whatever that may be. Still crying and confused, she didn't say anything and left the room. About 10 minutes later, I heard on her cell phone talking to her sister, which I anticipated. I guess her sister told her she was out of her freaking mind because an hour later she came back to me acting sweet and innocent again. However, I was on guard and would not allow her attempts at manipulation to work on me. Sweetheart, I might have made a mistake about going out with Brian. I'm going to cancel it. I don't want to be with anyone else. That's your choice, Tricia, but you've started something that I plan to finish. You can go out or stay home, but I'm not canceling my date with Angel. You told me how much you wanted this and hurt me on purpose. The only way for me to deal with this is to see where it leads. Maybe you're right, and we need to start dating other people and have an open marriage. You need to understand that there are always consequences for your choices. This was your decision, and remember, you accepted his date before talking to me. That hurt, and I can't forgive that. She tried to explain again. Jay, it wasn't a date. You need to believe me. It was an after-hours thing. It's not that important. I'll cancel it. Can't we just go out together Friday night? I ignored her pleas, grabbed a beer, and headed out to the patio for some peace. I slept in the guest room that night and the rest of the week after listening to Tricia crying all evening. I got a call the next day from her sister, Helen. Jay, are you really going out with another woman this week? You can't do that to Tricia. She loves you so much. Helen, clearly you don't know the entire situation or weren't told the whole story. Your little sister accepted a date from a coworker without even discussing it with me. She came home and announced she was going to go on this date without caring about my feelings or our marriage. I am definitely going to go on a date, and we will see where we are afterward. I've been monogamous and never even thought of being with another woman since the day I met your sister. Truthfully, I love her more than anything, but I'm not sure I want to stay married to a woman that wants other men. That's going to be hard to get past. Do you understand that, Helen? Yes, Jay, I do. I didn't realize she was that stupid. Please be patient with her. She probably doesn't even realize she's hurting you and thinks it's no big deal. Helen, I am being patient. I haven't kicked her out yet, but she will have to deal with the consequences. After talking with Tricia, Helen helped her understand the damage she caused to our marriage and my feelings by dating someone else. Tricia apologized and begged me to cancel our dates, but I was determined to even things up and show her what she had done. Hearing your wife wants to date another man is something I hope no other man has to hear. Please don't judge my decisions until you've been in my shoes. If it happens to you, tell me how to stay patient and forgiving. No way. I made plans for Angel to pick me up that night so she could meet my wife and know it was okay to go out with a married man. On Friday night, even though Tricia didn't want to go out with her coworker, I insisted she honor her commitment with him. She didn't like me calling him her boyfriend and tried to assure me he was just a friend. Tricia dressed nicely for her date with Brian, wearing a cute dress and looking her usual pretty self. At least she didn't try to look hot for the date, which gave me some hope for us. She was nervous about meeting Angel, but I insisted she meet my date to reassure her about our open marriage. She argued with me about the open marriage, but I ignored her. I was being difficult, but in my mind, it was justified. Tricia's eyes popped out of her head when Angel came in at 6 p.m. Angel was the total opposite of Tricia. Tricia was a petite, small girl, and Angel is 5'10" and in great shape from all the training. Her large C-cup melons were spilling out over her dress, and she looked incredible standing next to me. I wore my tight-fitting sports jacket that revealed my muscular body. I even made Tricia take a few photos of us together before we left, which really pissed her off. We made a good-looking couple, and we could have been posing for the cover of Sports Training magazine. I saw Tricia seething with anger and jealousy, but there was nothing she could do. She finally realized that she might have uncorked a bottle that she may not be able to close. I was laughing inside when I introduced them and heard Angel say, "Jay told me all about your open marriage, and I'm happy for you." I've been after this hunk of a man for the last year, and I was so excited when he called me Sunday. I heard you also have a new boyfriend. Good for you. I could see Tricia's head about to burst into flames, but she couldn't reply fast enough because the doorbell rang and she realized it was Brian. She got all nervous as I opened the door and I let him in. I was a little surprised to see who she was going out with. Brian was maybe 5'7" and almost as tall as Tricia in her 4-inch heels. He was not an attractive man. I had no idea what she was thinking. He weighed maybe 150 pounds. He was losing his hair, and clearly not a physical threat, but still posed a problem in our relationship. I think the poor guy was going to piss his pants when he saw my massive body towering over him. His hand felt small, cold, and sweaty as I gave him a strong handshake for fun. I said, "My wife is ready for your date night. Have fun." He just nodded and looked to Tricia for help. Angel and I laughed as we left, knowing Tricia was going to be upset. I didn't feel bad and hoped it would all end well. When I got home around 6 a.m. the next morning, Angel dropped me off. We had a long, warm goodnight kiss in the driveway, which I was sure Tricia saw from the window. Angel and I had a nice dinner, went dancing at one of her favorite clubs, took a walk on the beach after the club closed, and then had breakfast before she drove me home. It was an interesting night. She was fun to be with, a great dancer. She had a great sense of humor, good as hell, and a spectacular kisser. We didn't go any further than a kiss, but there was a chemistry there that I knew could lead to a very exciting relationship. However, Tricia was the only thing on my mind that entire night. When we were dancing, I thought about my wife. When we were on the beach, it brought back memories of Tricia and me in Hawaii. Every moment except for the goodnight kiss was filled with thoughts of Tricia. With a happy and sad heart, I walked into my house wondering if it would ever be my home again. Tricia was up waiting for me when I walked into the house. As soon as she saw me, I was greeted with a nice kiss. "What else did you do all night?" Ignoring her remark, I said, "Good morning, Tricia. How was your date?" "Brian seems to be a nice guy." "Did you screw her?" She howled in an angry voice. "Tricia, it was only our first date. You should know me better than that." "First date. Are you seeing her again?" "I don't know." "Are you seeing your boyfriend again?" "Of course not." "I don't want him. I want you." "Well, you wanted him last week. What changed?" I realized that I was an idiot and thought I could go out and just have fun with a guy, just like I would with one of my girlfriends. You know, just hang out. But you had to take out that slutty supermodel and stick it in my face, she said, crying into one of the tissues that littered the couch. She must have been there all night crying and waiting for me to return. It was clear that she now understood what she had done. Maybe she did see him as just a friend, like one of her girlfriends. He wasn't a threat, and I might have overreacted. I'm still shocked that any woman could think her husband would be okay with her going out with another guy, even if it was innocent. I took her in my arms and held her close. "Tricia, I love you, but I can't live with a woman who wants to be with other men for any reason. I won't tolerate cheating. If it happens again, if you lie to me or do it behind my back, I will kick you out and divorce you on the spot. Do you understand?" She threw her arms around me and kissed me. Yes, baby, I would never cheat on you, and I never wanted to be with anyone else but you. This was different. You still didn't tell me how your date with Brian went. What happened? It wasn't a date. What you did with that Barbie doll was a date. We had dinner, but he was so shaken up after seeing you and hurting his hand. He took me home right after dinner. It wasn't fun and I had a terrible time. He dropped me off before 8 p.m. and I've been here thinking about what you were doing with her all night. Then seeing you kiss her like that, she started sobbing again. I held her again and told her everything would be fine. I did laugh to myself thinking about the little guy meeting her muscle man husband. After I shook his hand, I was fairly sure he was going to be a gentleman that night, which was another reason I waited to meet him before Angel and I left. Tricia, let's forget about last night for now, but I'm serious about counseling. I still need to understand some things, and you also need to understand my feelings. If we can get through that, and I can trust you again, then I won't see Angel or any of the other women that continue to ask me out. Her eyes opened wide when she realized Angel was not the only threat. We spent the day in bed making sweet love and getting reacquainted. I started sleeping back in my own bed and started on the path back to sanity. Counseling was the answer to our situation. Mrs. Williams was empathetic and nurturing. She actually had to explain to Tricia how her actions made me feel insignificant and hurt. Tricia didn't look at Brian as a man, but only as a friend. She tried to explain that she never said it was a date, but just a night out with her friend Brian. She tried to explain that it wasn't any different than her doing the same thing with one of her girlfriends. Mrs. Williams finally made Tricia understand that in a monogamous relationship, you don't spend time with other men and ignore your husband. Tricia tried to complain about how vindictive I was by dating a woman who was clearly sexier and better looking. She said it wasn't fair and that it wasn't right. Mrs. Williams explained things from my point of view and shared some thoughts that calmed Tricia down. When it was my turn to speak, I explained that I now understood her intentions, but I still wouldn't accept her spending time with other men. I looked at Tricia and said loudly, "Tricia, I love you, and you broke my heart when you told me you were going out with Brian. My military training kicked in, and I decided to fight. If you were going to see other men, then I would respond by dating other women. I never wanted to do that, and I'm regretful it happened. But this was on you. In the future, if you do something like that again, you will have divorce papers within a week. I will not put up with a cheating wife. I realize and understand that you didn't consider this a date, which is why I'm willing to work on our marriage, but don't ever try that again." Everyone was quiet after that outburst, and things had changed. Tricia was more in tune with my feelings, and we talked more and turned this ridiculous event into a stronger marriage. We continued therapy for several months and found new ways to keep each other as our main focus in the relationship. Angel was understanding and even called Tricia to tell her she would back off and not go after her husband. But if she ever wanted to ditch him, she would be happy to step in. Tricia understood that she had me and that she could lose me to another woman very rapidly. She never gave me a reason to be jealous or think about dating another man again. She understood that dates have meaning and that bad choices have consequences. Tricia and Brian stayed friends, but Brian was too scared to try anything more than just being colleagues. I realized that sometimes women don't always understand traditional views. Second story, I 18F and my boyfriend 17M decided to go to a friend's birthday party on May 10th. I usually don't check his phone because I trust him, but on the day of the party, I had a strong feeling to check it. He's a gamer and has Discord, which he never showed me. When I checked his phone, I found out he had been messaging his ex recently. He even told her she was hot when she sent him a picture. I also discovered they had been chatting during the first month of our relationship, and he never told me about it. When I confronted him, he said he couldn't even remember why he said those things. He told me he was being sarcastic when he called his ex hot and said she wasn't dumb enough to misunderstand it like I did. I didn't know how to feel after that. I had no one to talk to at the time, so I'm ranting here on Reddit. We're still together, but I feel like he's hiding something, even though he lets me check his accounts. He has a lot of girls following him, so I asked him to unfriend them. He deleted his account and made a new one to avoid me overthinking, but I still feel like something's off, and I don't know what to do.